So unfortunately, I've called the spray booth this morning and he has not got availability. He's ploughed out, he's got a guy off work and he's got too much work on, he can't free up any space, so I can't use the booth. So I'm going to be doing it on the drive. What else are we going to do? I can't start phoning around trying to find somewhere else to do it now. There's no way anyone's going to take on a job like this at short notice and get it done within the next week or two. Unfortunately, I've gone for a base coat and lacquer paint system, so it makes things a hell of a lot harder. I shouldn't have done it. I shouldn't have gone for that. Regretting that, but I've got the stuff now. Just introduce you all to Flo, our new dub dog. She's a Labradoodle. She's about 14 weeks old. We got her when she was 8 weeks. And she will be coming on all of our adventures with us. What are you? Hey? Sit. Sit. Paw. Good girl. Ah. She's a good one. She's a bit noisy at the minute though. Okay, so this is Kate. Kate's come around because she could hear on the phone that I was really stressed. So she's helped me doing some rubbing down of some bits and pieces whilst I've been making a spray booth. So I'll have a walk around and show you what I've done. We've got a tarpaulin up on this side here and we've got some sheets up on that side. I'm just putting some stuff up over the garage door to stop me getting paint on that. And already just sitting in there, it has already made a massive difference. Simply just having something like that, it's waving around. Unfortunately, the wind has picked up. I think what I might just do today, get all prepped on and just look at spraying tomorrow. First job, clean this floor as best as I can. It's dry, it's warm, it's just very windy. So the bonnet's been in and out on and off the van that many times. It's got a little bit damaged because something dropped on it. So I've got a few tiny little chips. So I've just used a bit of U-POL Dolphin Glaze in the hardener, which is very, very thin and creamy, and it goes into tiny little imperfections like this. And then I'll let that dry, rub it back, and then a bit of primer over the top, because you don't want to do base coat on top of filler. Tiny little specks of primer, try and blend it in, and then this will be ready for paint. Again, for the millionth time. So I'm going to get this bumper ready for paint. So I'm just using a bit, it's got dirty again overnight, so I'm just using a bit of warm water and washing up liquid. Purposefully not using car shampoo. That might be the logical thing to use, car shampoo, for your car. But car shampoos have waxes in them. The last thing you want to do is go applying a wax to a surface you're about to paint. You want to degrease it. So that's why I'm using just washing up liquid, because it's a brilliant degreaser. So I'm just getting the dirt and the grease off it, and then I'm going to give it a rub down with some 500 grit, and then this will be ready for painting. To do this a bit quicker, I'm going to use some 320 grit paper first and go over it with that, and then knock it back all of the orange peel out of this high build primer, and then go over it with the 500. I think it'd be quicker doing it that than just trying to flat it back all with 500 to begin with. Look at the state of this wind today. Right, we're gonna have a crack at spraying. It's windy. My neighbour is trimming the grass. Thanks, John. I've cleared my airline as best as I can, getting water out of the tank and out of the airline itself. Got my gun set to 20 psi. I've mixed up some base coat and some thinners at a ratio of 50-50. That is currently in the gun. I've made up in total 400 millilitres of paint, so it's like 200 of base coat, 200 of thinners. That's mixed, ready to go in the gun right here now. I've wet the floor with water, being careful not to get anything on the bumper itself or on the sides or on the roof. I've give the airline down a wipe with some tissue to get any drip drops of water off and whatnot. Gonna give it a quick rub down with a tack cloth. Got my mask ready. Let's get some paint down. So we have got a couple problems. You can see where there was either water or oil, some kind of wax or something on the surface, and annoyingly I've just got 4 or 5 of them. There's a little area there as well. So the paint's hit the surface and then just gone, nope. I've just tried going over those little areas where those little oil spots were with a bit of 500, very, very, very gently. Just going back over at the tack cloth now. Let's get a second coat on. I need better light. I can't really see what I'm doing either. The sun's coming in shining, it's just dazzling off me. And then there's this like dark shady areas I just can't see how well I'm laying the paint down. Generally it looks good. There's areas where it's like spot on. There's a few little specks of dirt getting in there, and there's a few little mist areas. Very difficult to spray this really. But it's currently looking like a right bag of shit. I thought I was laying down the paint. I'm getting the paint down nice. That's not the issue. It's the prep. Not enough prep. I've probably put 30 hours into that bumper alone in terms of rubbing it down and then putting the splitter on, filling it, and rubbing it 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 and cleaning it and rubbing it and going through all the grip papers and everything. Sprayed it now, it looks like shit. Absolute shit. And now I'm trying to spray it fucking during a fucking tornado. Pissed off. Looking a lot better after that coat actually, so I've got down a really nice wet coat which kind of like filled a lot of the imperfections, so we'll see once it starts to flash off, as they say. Not a pro, obviously, here on my driveway, in the wind, spraying like a dick. Let's just stand back here and admire it from over here. Yeah, doesn't that look nice? Just want to show you this now. Obviously this is still just a base coat with no lacquer on, but look at that in the sunlight. Now this is why I wanted this paint. Look at that. Green, blue. All in all, I mean, I can spray. I've learnt to get it down with good coverage with no runs, but it's the dust. It's the dust and the imperfections and the prep. You don't spend enough time. You've got to get the prep absolutely immaculate with this paint, because it just shows everything underneath. It doesn't hide fuck all. Right, I need a bit of advice from people, if you can please comment on this one. So my theory is that this base coat, when you reapply another coat to it, it will, the thinners in the base coat eats into the paint underneath it and sort of like activates that layer, and it basically blends together. Is that correct, or is that bollocks? Now I know if you do a 2K lacquer or paint,
then you would need to sand it down to get rid of that gloss for any other layers of paint after that to re-adhere into it. But is what I'm thinking correct or not? What I'm thinking about doing is getting all of the inside of the apertures and the insides of the doors done, get all of the van put back together, and then I'll mask off all of the areas such as like the glass and the windows and stuff that are still in, and then spray the whole van then all in one go, redoing that bumper after I've flattened it back again to get rid of some of the imperfections and to get rid of that orange peel and stuff once I'm happy with it. I don't know if that's going to work. Do I now need to re-sand that entire bumper all over for my base coat to re-adhere to it? Or can I literally just spray on top of it? Because like when you're putting coats down on paint, when you're freshly painting something, you spray it, you give it a light dusting, you wait whatever the flash time is, 10-15 minutes, depend on your temperature, you put another coat on, wait, put another coat on, wait. And then after a certain period of time, now that's the cut off now, you've missed your opportunity to do another layer, you now need to resand, and then you can go about spray painting, or can you literally just wipe it down so it's clean and do another layer, and it will melt and adhere into it, like I said. So what I'm using at the minute is base coat and thinners, 50-50, so there's no hardener in it. What's going to happen?